everyone, so I know it's been a while since I've actually sat down and filmed a video for you guys. Today I just wanted to sit down and kind of break down how to plan a wedding. I'm gonna do this kind of like in a series and start off with the venue first because I think that is the most important thing. And I did write down some points to kind of remember to mention to you guys as I explain everything in the process of what to do. And I do apologize, I look kind of crap. I look really crappy. I got up, I got ready, I was like, I need to film a video. If I want to make this happen, I just have to do it. And so yeah, please don't mind my hair or anything. So first thing I want to discuss about as far as wedding planning is your venue. Your venue is very important because I feel like if you know what the area is going to look like, you're able to decide what you want and don't want in your wedding and what's needed. So that's the most important thing. And for as far as venues, most places are booked out in a year in advance. And when I was looking, if your wedding was like a year out, they had like specials going on, so you kind of have a chance of getting like a decent discount. And also for wedding venues, not all places are gonna be in season. Most places are only gonna be open during the peak of wedding season. So once spring hits to summer, they're open, and after that they're closed. So some places, if you're able to find a place at the end of the wedding season, kind of like to September and October, you might get a discount on the location just because they'll just book whatever they can just to, you know, make some money until they close for the season. So always keep that in mind as well, and make sure you know you have an estimated amount of people that you want in your wedding so you can kind of see if it's big enough for the place, because you don't want to get a really big place and not have enough people to fill it. Otherwise your wedding is gonna look empty. So just make sure that whatever you put your money into, you're utilizing and you're making the most out of it. So one biggest thing to me was I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to rent any chairs or table, bring my own speaker or microphone or a projector for a slideshow, or like, you know, anything to play music. Like, I wanted to make sure that the venue has all that provided for me, because if you don't have to bring it, that's one less thing you have to worry about. You just have to make sure everything's connected right and it works on the day of your wedding. So that's one of the things to remember. When I was doing my wedding planning, looking for places, some places will have the venue, but you will have to rent your own chairs and table, bring your own sound system. Like, that's a lot of work, and especially if you don't have the vehicle, or you don't know people who have the vehicle to be able to transport all those stuff, it's going to be difficult. And most places don't even allow you to set up the day before, or they only give you like 2 hours to set up before the wedding. Some of them are very limited on the time span that they have available for you to be there. And I do apologize, I am filming in front of a natural daylight, so it looks really dark right now because the sun is like being blocked. So I apologize if it looks really dark. As far as like wedding dates and picking out what's available, make sure you kind of have a couple of options, just because you can't guarantee if that place is going to have your wedding weekend date open up. It might be booked already, so make sure you have a few weekends to play around with and be a little more flexible. That way, once you get that down, if you try a place and they don't have your wedding weekend open, you could try a different one or a different date. So just make sure you keep that option open. So as far as me choosing my wedding venue, I decided to do a college conference room. My guest list was roughly a little over 200 people. I was afraid because the tables that we had were rounded tables and you can only fit 8 to a table. But the good thing is that next to it is like a lobby, so a lot of the kids and parents who had younger kids, most of them were just out there talking, just roaming around. And I didn't have to worry about seating, which I was. But then most people, when you go to weddings, most people will probably end up standing when the ceremony is over, speeches are done and people are just hanging out. Most people end up standing anyways. Make sure you check your weather as well. For us, since it was in the summer and our wedding was indoor, we wanted to make sure there was AC because it was going to be hot. With over 200 people in the room, it's going to be hot. So once you know what kind of venue you like and what you decide on, everything else just kind of falls into place, because you'll just work with what's available and what you can and can't do. And make sure you communicate with the coordinator and you ask them what the cleaning is going to cost, if it's an indoor and there's carpet, and if there was spilling, how much will that cost me to clean it? How much are you going to charge me? So make sure you know the answers to all that, because I didn't even think about it until I was discussing it with my parents and my siblings, and they're like, well, how much is it going to cost? Make sure you know what the cleaning is, because that way, you know, we can do things to prevent any of that from happening. So as far as like food, we didn't want anything to be liquid. The only liquid we had was one of the desserts, and to prevent it from spilling, my husband and I, we got lids and straws for us, so that way people could just drink it out from a straw instead of using a spoon or just drinking it straight from the cup. So kind of pick and choose on what you can do to kind of prevent any of these accidents to happen. And next, as far as food, make sure the venue that you pick allows you to either bring your own food, or the food selection they have is something you like, or the people that they are contracted to work with is something you want at your wedding. Being Asian, I mean, we love our Asian food, and we have a lot of older people at our wedding, so food was one of the biggest thing for us. Everybody does have different taste and preference in food, but make sure it's something that, you know, if you ate that at your wedding, you would enjoy it. So as far as food, we cater some foods, things that we knew that were easy to make, that we didn't want to spend extra money on, that would just be easier to just have it cater for the place. Just go ahead and do that. We catered from a Chinese buffet, and we did some stir fry, and we did noodles, because if you think about stir fry, the more veggies you put in there, the more the price is going to add up, so you might as well just buy it from someone that's already been pre-made and then just have it delivered. And as far as food delivery or picking up, make sure that you double check with them. For us, we went in and we were able to look at the food and see what we wanted, and the lady was able to give us an estimate of how much things was going to cost for us. Make sure that when you are ordering your food, you give them the correct date and time and when you need it to be done. I asked for it to be done an hour before my ceremony actually started, so that way the people that were going to go pick it up had time to go and get it and bring it back and set it up. You don't want to have your food not be ready and have your guests waiting, so you want to make sure all that is prepared. So always make sure you call the week or the day before your wedding to just confirm, like, hey, I just want to make sure that my order is in, that it's ready for tomorrow, and this is when I need it. Just because you don't know how restaurants are, and you don't want them to mess up your order or forget about your order, especially if it's a big order for a party. They need to make sure they have enough ingredients for to make that possible for you. So make sure you always call them the day before, like, hey, I made an order, I've already paid for it, I just want to make sure that, you know, it's ready and it's still on the agenda for tomorrow to be picked up. So that way you want to communicate so nobody forgets, because that's the worst thing. You don't want to have a wedding and not have enough food for anybody, so that will be really embarrassing. So make sure you keep that in mind as well. And as far as like the cake, I just had my sister-in-law make my cake for me. I'm very simple. I just want it to be a vanilla cake with strawberry, and I like that fluffy whipped cream frosting instead of actual sweet frosting. And as far as the decorations, my other sister-in-law just bought some flowers and they just pin it on the cake, and it looks really pretty. And as far as the cake for the guests, I just did Costco cake. I mean, you could choose cupcakes, you could do whatever that fits for your budget and whatever you prefer, but that was just something that I decided to do because it's simple and it's cheap. And so I just went in the day before, filled out the form, and submitted it in, and have a family member picked it up the next day so that it was ready for the wedding. So you could kind of choose what you want. It doesn't have to be complicated. And for our cake, it wasn't super big. It was just a 2-tier cake just for us. And then the cake for the guests, it was just self-serve. Whoever wanted cake can go and have cake. And I think my sister-in-law, they were also passing it out too. That way we can get rid of it and make sure we didn't have to bring it back. So there's kind of ways on how you can eliminate your food or make sure you utilize most of it so that you don't have to bring all that stuff back home with you. I hope I kind of went over everything that I wanted to, and if I didn't, I'll just mention it in another video. And again, don't worry about what other people have to say about your wedding, or, you know, don't go broke trying to plan a wedding. Just do what works for you. And because at the same time when I was planning my wedding, we were also moving out into this place, and so we had two things going on at the same time. We couldn't spend more money on the home because we had to spend the money on our wedding. If you know where you want to have your wedding already, go ahead and book it in advance. That way your date option, it's available, and also you will be able to save a little bit of money. Make sure you know what your rough estimate of people is going to be, including kids. I counted every single person, even kids as well, because that's still another person that you are feeding. So make sure you have enough food for everyone, because you always want to make sure there's more than enough. And what we usually do for our food, if there's a lot of leftover, we just pack it, we just give it to the guests, and they could just take it home, because what are you gonna do with all that food? Like, you're not gonna finish it. So whatever's left over, just pack it, just give it to whoever that wants to take it. That way you don't have to haul all that stuff back home. And yeah, that's kind of my take on the whole wedding and the food and cake and dessert wise. I used a college conference room, and they didn't charge me for the day of decorating or anything like that. They gave me the whole day before to go ahead and rehearse and decorate whatever I needed to, and she only charged me for the actual wedding day. And the only thing that they expected was insurance to cover any damage, any fees, in case if anything is like lost or stolen. There's so much ideas on Pinterest or questions that I didn't even think about that I was able to find on there. So just make sure that you keep that handy and you are able to ask them all this. That way you know what to expect and there's no confusion, because that's what I felt like when I was talking to the person that was helping me with my wedding and coordinating the area for me. I didn't really know what to ask her, so I felt like it didn't help. If you don't know, then they don't know how to help you. So you need to make yourself clear and make sure you hit all your bullet points. So I messaged her a few times, and then I was like, wait, like I need to make a list of all these questions that I need to have answers for, and then send it to her. That way if anybody else asks me, I'm able to explain it to them as well. So I asked about, you know, cleaning fees, what's allowed, what I can do, can't do. And you know, for most places, if you want alcohol at your place, they're gonna charge you a little bit more. I didn't want to deal with any of that, so I'm like, no alcohol. I'm not gonna pay for the extra money. I don't want to deal with that. So we'll just have everybody come over to my house and hang out after that. So that's kind of what we did. I hope this video makes sense, and I hope it can help somebody in one way or another if you're on a budget with trying to figure out how to plan your wedding. Our place with the insurance that we got for our venue, it was under $900, which is really cheap. If you think about an actual wedding venue, it's going to be more expensive. If you wanted your ceremony to be at a nice place with just your family, so it's more intimate, you could do that and then rent a different place for your reception, so that, you know, you can invite more people. So you can kind of pick and choose what you can do. And yeah, I hope this video was helpful in one way or another to somebody if you're planning your wedding or going to be getting married, or just wanting to know in the future for just for tips and ideas and stuff like that. I hope it makes sense, and I apologize if this video was kind of like unorganized, but hopefully it helps somebody out. And have fun wedding planning, enjoy it. It's gonna be stressful, it's gonna be frustrating, but it's only gonna happen once. And honestly, enjoy the struggle, because once it's all over, it's over, and all you can do is think back about it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope to see you guys soon. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos. I do vlogs as well. I try to upload them whenever I can, but yeah, hopefully you guys will stick around, and now we'll see you guys in the future.